Yes.
Bogdanov, he did it.
Il bort.
He went all in.
Dump it. No! No!
You heard it here first. Bitcoin is going to zero. When it comes out, zero.
Just hodl, bro.
Welcome to the TGH Podcast. Today, we welcome Josh Meier. Josh is an entrepreneur and advisor to multiple blockchain projects such as Splyt, Ally, StackOS, Steady State, Definity, and many more. We can't wait to get some perspective and insight into what it's been like to work with so many different projects and teams, developers, and communities in this ever-evolving space. Welcome, Josh. How are you?
Welcome.
I'm doing very well. How about yourself?
Amazing, yeah.
Doing
amazing.
good, thanks.
Market looking a lot better. It's holding up, and it even looks as if it's going to push to an extent, doesn't it? I know you're a little bit more bearish short term than me, Panda, but you know, I don't know. I mean,
This is the perfect time to have someone like Josh on, who's been working with many projects and has insights into how to find quality. So I assume you wouldn't put your name onto a project if you don't believe in it, and you certainly have criteria on how to pick a good project. And we would love to give our community insights.
I'd be happy to do my best and let you know kind of what I look for in a project and what the the process I typically go through when I'm picking projects is.
Yeah. So, who you've obviously worked with? There's an A4 page. There's actually more. There's tons of projects that you've worked with and you're advising now. Who are you currently working with closely then? Who are you now actively advising?
Totally. Well, I'm advising, there's, I believe it's 15 projects at the moment. Obviously, who am I closely advising at the moment has to do with, a little bit more with who's launching next and who has current needs and all of that. And I mean, when the market takes a sharp downturn the way that it, obviously we all know that it did, what ends up happening is, some projects go into, let's just build mode. And, from an advisory standpoint, considering I'm not a technical advisor, I'm on the strategy side and the marketing side and helping them prepare for launch as well as business development. So a lot of the times for projects, I'm helping introduce them to other projects and introduce them to my network. And in the launching time, I'm introducing them to KOLs, which are key opinion leaders and influencers, helping them pick the right one, make the connections, all of those types of things. Yeah. But who am I currently working closely with is going to be the projects that are launching in the short term. I mean, we just launched Ally, which really bullish on that project for the long term. Recently, Ecofy is going to be launching quite shortly. Steady State is, in the building phase, going to be launching pretty soon. Omni, I'm very excited for, going to be a really cool project that's also launching quite soon. And there's multiple others that are in the next couple of months going to be launching. So I'm definitely really excited to have this conversation with you guys and get to know the two of you a little bit more, as well as have a chat that your community can watch later.
Great, yeah. Great for you to come as well, Josh. We're really excited to have you on today. You've just mentioned about how we have saw, obviously, the market sort of downturn recently, and lots of alts saw, we saw lots take dips down 80, 90%. We couldn't believe it. And in your position, seeing the projects, as you just said then, a lot of them go into build mode. And working with a lot of projects at the moment, do you find that the better projects go into build mode, the more sort of legitimate, long-term, here to stay projects? Are they the ones that go into build mode? And is that something that investors should look for when the market does turn and prices do drop? A lot of projects stop working, don't they? They sort of, the teams sort of lose motivation, don't they? So is that a key thing to look for in regards, if you're an investor and the market does turn, look for the projects that are building and working away, no matter what the market conditions are?
It is for sure. And I mean, it's a bit of a hard thing to really know as an investor as well, though, because, you know, I might know because I'm working closely with the project that they're working hard behind the scenes, but a lot of the times that doesn't necessarily, directly show with the investor either. Because what you have to think is that a lot of the times what they're working on is going to be future announcements, and they're working on getting those types of things out. And, you know, they can't really talk that much about some of these things because they're still, materializing. So it's, you're totally right. The strong projects go into build mode, whereas the little bit more, I guess you'd say, not as strong projects panic. And, that's where,
the shit coins.
The Ponzi's and mem tokens.
Oh boy, yeah. There's some token names that launched in the last year here that when I was a kid, my mom would have washed my mouth out with soap. I said so.
we can't mention a few of them, otherwise we get flagged on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we've been. I think every episode we've had, we've been talking about these silly names, haven't we, Panda?
It's not stopping. It's kind of just getting worse. That's the feeling I'm getting.
We said, didn't we, a few months ago? Don't worry, these mem tokens.
It's going to end, and it just got worse.
It's going to end.
And there'll be a day. That being said, in a roundabout way, does it not make you a little bit excited about crypto? And the reason I say that is, if you look at it, it just shows how early we really still are.
so immature. From the past 3 days, from the last bull run, I don't think we matured at all. It still feels like we're completely in baby shoes, and slowly there's stuff rolling out, but most eyes are still on the shit coins and the Ponzi's and stuff like this. And I mean, you look at where the average investor hears about crypto, and I mean, that's half of the problem, is that the media, and you get the Elon Musks of the world that, I believe he probably has a much deeper actual understanding of blockchain than he likes to leave.
Yeah. I think
I
think he's using crypto to raise funds, because this is obviously the hottest space on the planet right now, where you can make the most money, and who turns up? All of these, influential leaders are turning up to the space. It's not a coincidence, because they know you can make the most money here. I think he's funding his space, his final mission to Mars. He's saying, isn't he wants to die on Mars. Probably funding the whole thing with crypto.
Flying to Mars on kitty and dog coins.
I wish he'd hurry up.
Yeah.
Fuck off to Mars.
Oh, bye. Yeah, isn't that the truth? It's definitely an interesting perspective to look at. But I mean, it really does kind of make me excited when I think about it, because, as much as I absolutely hate it right now, and it just bugs me as a person that works with some very legitimate projects that when the market panics and the market drops, you look at a project like Ally, for example, that launched in a very they launched on one of the more bearish possible days. And I mean, you're not going to see multiples when you launch on a day like that. But I mean, that's a project that behind the scenes, I mean, they have over 90,000 drivers. They've done 24 million deliveries last year, and they have a decentralized setup that offers basically the ability for businesses to go and actually directly work with the customers, and gives them an alternative to DoorDash and Postmates and all of those projects. I mean, it's or companies, and it's crazy when you look at what the valuation of something like Ally is right now in these bearish markets, when people, I mean, to be completely honest, people don't even know it exists, and they're not even looking at it, and they're not interested that it exists. This is that point.
Yeah,
which is just sad.
I completely get that. It is scary from that perspective. I get what you're saying. Go on, Panda.
In crypto, it's like, I'm not sure if it's the same in stocks, because obviously we are not that deep involved into stock communities, if there's anything like that. But in crypto, it's like you don't really measure a project by its fundamentals. You often measure it by the price movement. So price movement looks good, must be a solid project, I'm going to invest. And then you have people investing after a 10x because they think that's gotta be good. And they're investing into complete shitcoins. Yeah, exactly.
They get really wrecked. And it's also what drives a lot of people out of the crypto community, in my opinion, is because they, I know myself back in 2017, when I first started in crypto there, I mean, I'll be completely honest, I got wrecked right at the beginning. I came from
same.
Derivatives and stocks, and I was into all of those, beforehand, and more on the traditional side. And I kept getting, bumping my head into crypto because I was investing in a lot of AI technology and a lot of fintech, and I kept running into crypto, and I'm like, oh man, I'm not sure about this funny money. Like, I don't know what I think about.
I think we all started in the same way. So you started in 2017 then? Was it was it during the bull run? Obviously, it was during the bull run then. And was it late in 2017? Was it near the top or?
Yeah, I was near the top, and here's the thing. I'm the type that does a bit of research first, and so I heard about it. I had heard about it a couple of years prior, and don't get me wrong, I wish I jumped in then. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't really. I never actually looked into it, and then in about halfway through 2017, I started looking into it, and I bought a tiny bit at that point in time. And that obviously launched and to some real new heights, and then I'm like, I'm gonna put some more money in this. This is great, and I'm pretty sure I bought the top possible block that I could have bought. Really, I had about maybe 6 months of not really liking crypto and being like, all right, I'm going back to what I know really well, and went back to that side. But then again, kept banging my head on crypto. Every time I'd go into some kind of new AI technology or fintech, I'd end up it'd take me right back to the road of crypto, and that was when I started diving deep. And I lucked out in an ICO that really changed my perspective a lot from the trading side to the wow, maybe I should start learning about projects from a fundamental side as to what's gonna do well in the long term.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I ever saw some very, very serious gains, I guess you would say. You put a couple of grand into a project that turns into something that you could put a down payment on a house for. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, what happened there?
It's life changing, isn't it? It's so life changing, not just financially but mentally. When you see that something can turn into that, it's like whoa, like mentally, it was. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? And that's where you then started to get involved fundamentally into some of these smaller projects, which then led you onto this journey now where you're starting to advise and tell these projects, advise them. I love that because a lot of the best investors and the elite guys did get wrecked at the start, and they all share the same story. They persevered and they got through it, and there's something in that journey. There's something in it that is the secret sauce to making it. Mm-hmm. It's like that is the persistence of going through it and making it. You see, don't you? Wow, I can make it. And then once you get that shot of that reality check, it's unbelievable. I find it fascinating, and hearing every single person's story is also fascinating. So you then did. I
actually went through 2 slaps, realistically. So I had my first one in, when I bought right at the top in 2017, and that one I did go negative from where I started, and that was a lesson there. And the next one was I guess you'd say the next bull run in the next full bull run in 2020 when so that was when I would say that kind of the start of the DeFi summer happened there. And I was fortunate. I kicked off with actually TrustSwap was the first one I invested in that I guess you'd say cycle. And obviously we all know that one went really, really well. So I was very lucky to be in the ICO for that. But what was really interesting there, so I did really well in the summer. I went into probably about I'd say about 30 to 40 different ICOs, and that was right before the IDOs really started to take off. And so I went into a bunch of those, did really well. I was up a lot, and which was some pretty serious money for me there. And all of a sudden, the market did its correction there in I think it was like October, November, December kind of area. And that was where I learned my second big lesson, which is take your profits. I went from one number down about I think I was down about probably from the top. It was I would say about 70% probably from the top at that point, and I hadn't really taken much in the way of profits. So I was lucky there that kind of taught me a second lesson about as much as I'm very bullish on crypto for the long term, and I believe in some of these projects for the long term, I also need to make sure I'm taking my profits and actually actually doing the right thing there. So that kind of taught me a couple really important lessons, and that was something I got a good group of my friends involved into crypto during this bull cycle, and I think that was one of the lessons that most of them learned. And I was even there like being like, guys, don't forget to take profit.
I've been there.
Mistakes.
Yeah.
Did any of them really take that many profits?
I've been there. Yeah, it's funny.
Everyone needs to learn the hard way. It's the same discussion we had on our last podcast, because you have a certain token and you think if I take profits, I have this dollar and it stays a dollar. But if I keep this shitcoin, it maybe goes up another 5x. So that's what all of us probably had at some point.
Some of these
you need to learn the hard way.
Yeah. Some of these projects don't recover either. I really feel like there's too many projects and not enough investors. I mean, these launch pads are just pumping out projects. There's new projects. I mean, they must be entering the space now at a unprecedented scale now compared to what. There's just too many projects and not enough investors. And we're finding that investors are jumping, aren't they, from project to project. Some of the more fundamentally solid projects with the good, transparent, active teams that live and breathe this space building. Yeah. They love their projects. That there's not many though, is there? There's not many compared to the Ponzi's and the shit coins.
Well, I feel like what happened was so many projects wanted to launch during the bull run that you end up getting into this kind of this false dichotomy of like what is a real project and what is not, and people don't have the time. There's so many things launching, they don't have the time to do the proper research. They don't have their time. And I mean, I'll be honest, I completely was like that with you look at Ignition there, and I'm a fundamentalist through and through. I mean, I do some serious research on projects. If I'm going to invest heavily into a project, I'm going to do some very serious research on it. But I mean, you look at Ignition, when Ignition was really was like the big thing for a while there. And I mean, I made money on every single
same.
The market.
I don't think
I didn't know what the next token was. I didn't know what the project was. I'm just gonna buy whatever it is, and they're 100% unlocked tokens, and just have a heyday with it. And I didn't know what half of those projects were, and that I didn't really, when the market was that bullish, you didn't really need to.
Yeah, it didn't matter at that time.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. So I had the projects I was doing my research on, but I mean, here's the thing: I invested in, I I don't know the exact number, but probably about 120 projects during the during this year so far. And I look at it, I probably did real research on, I would say, like 30 to 40 of them. And I'm not in any way saying that is a good thing for people to do. I'm a full believer in you should do some serious research in a project. And I think right now, I think a lot of people are scared to invest. And I think that when I talk to the people I know that have, I guess you would say, have done really well in crypto and are very, very strong in it, and most of them are not afraid to invest in the right project. Still, they're still putting their money into project. I'm still putting my money into project, but I'm very selective right now. And it has to be a project that is something that I see a real long term in. I'm not going to just put my money into into a project because it's going to be launching in a few days. It has to be something that has, it needs to have a very strong team behind it. It has to have strong backers. It needs to have a strong plan. Like that's one of the things that gets me all the time. I'll hop on the call with the CEO and I'll be like, all right, cool, what's your plan? And when they don't have a solid answer for me, I mean, that's a pretty big red flag waving right in front of my face that they don't really know what they're doing.
This is something that investors can also do to an extent. Everyone's got the ability to talk, maybe not to the CEO, but you've got the ability to go into the Telegram group.
Well, in crypto, you basically can talk to the CEO because the CEO is also showing up in Telegram groups, and if he's not, or if nobody from the team is showing up on Telegram, for me, it's also kind of a red flag. From one side, you want to have the team working, but on the other hand, you also want them to have in Telegram and showing up, speaking to the community, because that's just part of crypto.
And it's not just, is it? It's not just the information they give you in reply. Sometimes it's the manner in how they give that information. You can feel whether they are interested or not, and these little signs you can look for as an investor, and everyone's got the ability to do that, and you do improve. These are like senses, like 6 senses, aren't it, that you build in crypto as you're going through the journey. You understand, well, is this guy interested? I mean, he should be. He should be living and breathing this. If it's his project, he should be obsessed. Shouldn't they? But some of these teams aren't, are they? They're sort of like not interested. It's like
I also see if you read through their AMAs or watch their live AMAs, and you can see they're not really into it. Either it sounds like they're reading off the white paper, or if they're like giving very short answers as if they don't know themselves. It's also like, just run, take your money and run.
I agree. I completely agree. I've seen that a lot actually in AMAs and things, and that's a massive telltale sign whether are they interested, aren't they interested. So these are some of the little pointers that you can give people now, Josh. You know what you've just said then. Is there anything else that you could tell people that that they could use these little tricks or tips to sort of, if they're less experienced, then they could, what we just mentioned then. What else?
I would say some of the biggest things to do is, I mean, it's even if you don't at the beginning understand it all that much, take a look through the white paper. And here's the thing is that the more of them you look at, is it time consuming? Yes, it is. But at the same time, the more of them you look at, the better you get at starting to distinguish like what is unique. And that's one of the biggest things I find is, as you even look at sometimes like I'll look through the full white paper typically, but at the same time, when you're maybe not as experienced and you don't quite understand maybe half of what's going on in there, a good thing to look at is even the pitch deck, and just take a step back and look at it and say, okay, is this different from what other projects are doing? What makes this project unique? Is there something that they have that other projects don't have? There's too many projects right now launching that are the exact same thing. They don't really offer anything different other than a slightly different name and a slightly different team. And that is, that to me says that, why is this project going to survive through the next bear market? What do they have that is actually going to offer something to the long term of the crypto community? Is there something is there something here that I'm missing? And honestly, most of the time, the answer to that question is no, there's not something I'm missing. It's just there literally is nothing there that makes this project truly unique and that actually makes it something that can stand out in the long term. So yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things is just taking that step back. And I mean, forgetting about the fact that, is it launching soon? Cool. That doesn't even matter. Who cares if it's launching soon? Some of the projects that made, the most money for me were ones I invested in that were probably didn't launch for another 6-7 months after that.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a difficult thing to do sometimes, walking away from your money, knowing you're not going to see anything for a long time. But the real serious projects are not the ones that are doing pre-sale days before they're launching. I mean, that to me is a massive red flag right there.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
100%.
Serious projects, the only thing they have left at when they're a couple days from launching is maybe a few failed KYCs. They're not starting their pre-sale 3 days before the launch or even day of. I mean, if you're going into that is what they call it, the gen play. And
it's a high risk.
You're in and out in hour.
It's a high risk. Yeah, it's a high risk flip, isn't it? Basically, when you enter a project like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll be completely honest. I'm way too busy to enter projects like that because I've done a couple of them. I've had a couple of my friends that are very a few of them very well known influencers that I've done really well on these quick flips, and they're like, man, you need to buy this one's going to be super hyped. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'll get into it, and then I'll get busy working, and I'll be on like 4 back-to-back Zoom calls, and my buddy will be like, hey, did you make some good money? And I'm like, what? Are you out? And he's like, oh yeah, I've been out for like 2 hours. Shit. And I go and look, and all of a sudden,
dumped to zero.
Now I lost money again. So I don't have time for that. And I mean, there's people that make some good money doing it, sure, and good for them. But at the same time, for me, I'm a lot more of a fundamentalist. I want to make sure that I'm investing in a project I actually believe in, and I mean that's what's worked for me, and overall that's what I personally believe in is find projects that actually have something unique in the space that's going to add value, that's going to it's going to actually be something that's going to stick around for the long term. And I mean, you look at some of the best projects that are out there today. I mean, a good example is look at Celsius Network. Celsius Network went below its private sale price for a long period of time before, and what they did, they put their head down and they worked their ass off. And look at where they are today.
They've been building through the entire bear market.
And that's some of the strongest. Chainlink. Look at Chainlink. Chainlink launched in a bearish market. They put their head down. They built a strong community through the bear market. And they exploded once the market actually took off because they actually had some real stuff there, some serious stuff. So that's really what it comes down to in the long run, is that you need to take the time to really learn what that project is. You can be better, instead of trying to get into 20 different projects. If you don't have the connections that someone that's been in the space for a long time and works in the space has, you're not going to be able to just jump into any project at any time. It's sometimes difficult to get into them. So do all you can to learn as much about the project as you possibly can. What I find is, projects that I'm involved with, a lot of the times, really active community members, if you're in that community from a very early time and you're active in there and you're talking to the mods and they know like, oh yeah, that guy, we, like projects I'm with, we always will offer those community members if they want a chance to invest. And it's not going to be huge amounts, it'll be a couple grand. But if you're active in the community, a lot of the times, you'll be offered an opportunity to get a couple grand in the private sale or something like that.
That's a huge tip, by the way. Sorry to interrupt, but there's so many things you can do as an investor to get opportunities. And it's not just be a good community member, but that is obviously one thing. But you can also opt to be an admin in the Telegram channel, or you could be a moderator. There's so many little jobs, little tasks, graphics designer, web designer, there's developer. There's so many little things you can do to help out. And I'm sure most of these projects, well, they
Memes and
will.
GIFs.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
most projects have like a
Memes.
meme and GIF contest. If you're really good at memes and GIFs, I mean, do it. Use those skills and that's
I love
really
it.
learn.
Love it.
Go for it.
And the rewards are usually crazy. For some countries, it's like multiple months of wage just for a meme contest or just for creating a Medium article, stuff like that. Crypto really is right now probably the best paid sector around the world. No matter what you do, it is the best place to make money.
100%.
When I'm filling my taxes and I'm telling him what I'm doing and how much I'm getting for him, they're like, this just can't be right.
Insane.
And then I have to prove everything. They can't believe it.
I mean, Medium articles, writing Medium articles, you can actually make a lot of money doing that. Not just in crypto either. You can go on Fiverr and you can make a fortune on Fiverr just sitting there writing Medium articles. These projects have got the funds to pay people. That's the key, isn't it, in a lot of this? So investors have got the opportunity to make money, but they just need to be self-motivated and understand that it won't just... I think a lot of people are sat there, aren't they, just thinking, I'm just going to sit here and hopefully it'll just land on me. You have to go and get it. You have to go out and get it and work for it. But these projects and the people out there like you and like us, we are looking for hard-working, motivated people. And all you've got to be is use a little bit of incentive, and people will snap you up. You get snapped up in no time, because it's a dying thing now, isn't it? No one wants to really. You see all these meme tokens now, as we were saying before, and this crazy market. It's because I feel like it's because it's just free money, isn't it? No one wants to do anything. But if you do just work, even if you just work a little bit and try and put a little bit, it's still 10 times more than the average person, and you'll get so much further being like that. Yeah, I love that. It's a great point that you made there, actually, Josh, about helping out in the community, doing mod admin work. So many. I mean, we could list so many little things you could
even
do.
Just being a positive force in the Telegram channel. Like, there's a lot of value to that in projects. I mean, projects have to fight FUD all the time. There's always people in there that are fudding about something. And if you're someone there that is doing your part to fight the FUD and be like, no, God, like, these guys are legit, like, and if it is a legit project, of course. But I mean, just even someone that's there that, and I mean, we've rewarded people, with allocations and stuff for just being there and like helping us fight the FUD. Because I mean, a lot of times, like, when a project's getting ready to launch, I mean, the admins are like, I give it to them. If you are an admin in a project and you can do that, power to you, man, because you have some really, really good patience. Because I do not think that I could put up with what some of the community. I've gone in there a few times during launch.
The questions and messages you sometimes see in projects that either just launch or are about to launch. It's like, how can you survive being that stupid? I'm sometimes seeing questions like the most retarded questions. I just can't believe it. And the admins have to like be nice, answer all that shit. It's unbelievable.
It's a really hard job, really, when you think about it. But it's also suited just to people who have lived their lives virtually behind the computer. If you've played video games for many years and you're used to sitting behind your computer, then it's nothing new. It probably suits you. But I love what you were saying about using your strengths, i.e. if you are good at making memes or designing things, go and do that. Don't drop that and then go and do something that you're not good at. Use your strengths to gain leverage and try and less expose the weaknesses. So whatever you aren't very good at, then don't do that. It's like do the things you're good at to get opportunities, to network. And
that's literally what led me into working in crypto. I mean, I got the opportunity because I'm a very good researcher, and I started researching projects like quite deeply, and it was actually Jeff Kerdikis from TrustSwap who the first project that I ever worked with was Jeff had put a post on Facebook actually asking like, hey, what are up and coming projects people are interested in? I put a kind of a big list of ones, because I've talked to Jeff. I knew him a bit at that point in time, and he like messaged me privately after, and he's like, where did you find all those projects? And I'm like, I kind of went through it with them, and we ended up having a quick chat on the phone, and he's like, man, I didn't realize you were that good at actually researching projects. And so he offered me a position with TrustSwap on their Launchpad team, essentially just helping them vet projects. Essentially. So that's what I put it. And that led me to meeting my my now partner Corey, because he was like, oh cool, you're vetting projects for for TrustSwap. He's like, if any of them need marketing stuff, let me know. And then he found out, my degree is in marketing, and that's like, my strength. I've, over 10 years of professional sales and, a lot of marketing experience, all that kind of stuff. And it just kind of snowballed from there.
Love it.
And yeah. And then I worked with him on like the first project I worked full time on. Actually, I guess there's Mandala Exchange. I worked with them in the business development team, but the first one I worked with full time, like on a more advisory side was Splyt. And I still work with Splyt. Awesome.
We like Splyt. We like Splyt.
Love it for the long term. I've met, Cyrus and Lindsay now in real life. I went with them in LA, and really, really good people. I believe in their vision long term. But anyways, that taught me a ton of skills. Working with Corey on that project there, I learned a lot about the launch process and about going through all of that stuff, and that just led me into more projects. And then using a lot of Corey's experience, because he's been working with projects since 2017. He really kind of took me under his wing at that time and taught me a lot about what he knew. And it's funny because really I just used my strength, which is essentially networking and marketing and all of that. And I mean, I had been in tons of pre-sales and private sales and seed sales before that happened. But that was what really kind of led me to it, was because he found out that I had a lot of strength in researching projects, found out I had a lot of strength in knowing. I knew the launch process really well. And it just, helped because a lot of projects just don't seem to, they haven't launched a bunch of projects.
Yeah.
Or, we've launched 1, 2, something like that. So, having launched between Corey and myself now, we're 65 projects. That is a lot of projects. It gives a perspective, and we can save the projects a ton of money by making sure they don't make mistakes that other projects in the past have.
So, what you're saying here now, which we always are talking about, it's not about the money, is it? You're not even thinking about the money, are you? You are using your strengths. You're putting together the network is working together, using all their strengths, combining, and no one's even talking about the money. The money just follows, doesn't it? The money just follows.
If you do the other things correctly, and you really build your own network, and you spend the time and you actually learn about the projects, and you take all the steps that way, the money just simply it follows. And that was how it went for me, at least. And I mean the money in crypto, really, the money is there. And even if the market is dumping, I mean, realistically, let's be honest, crypto, I think, has made enough of a splash now that I think even people that don't know much about it know that it's not going away anytime soon. This is one of those really going to go a long ways.
What are your thoughts on the market now, Josh? To finish this off, what are your thoughts on the market? Where are we going to go? We've got a minute left to finish this.
Or maybe to put it better, would you recommend investors looking into undervalued, like underwater, but fundamentally strong projects right now, or would you rather say to wait a little bit longer?
If you want to know what I'm honestly personally doing right now, I'm in a mainly cash position at the moment. I'm of the mindset that I want to protect my capital, and I am investing in a little bit here, a little bit there into projects with very strong fundamentals. But it depends on your risk tolerance. And for me, I don't want to lose the hard work that I've put in. So I'm looking for some confirmations before I'm going to, go all in on anything again. So, I mean, if you want to look at what I'm doing, I'm being very risk adverse right now. And I do personally, I think there's a high probability that we do dip a little bit further. And that doesn't mean that I'm running for the hills or anything like that. But realistically, I think there is a high probability that we might get a bit of a further dip before we see some upside. But that being said, I also think that we're very, very early in the game, and if we're willing to park some money in the right projects and forget about that money for a period of time, and just don't look at it for a while, and don't watch the wild little swings that are going to happen no matter what. I think that's where you can really make some serious money. The hodlers are honestly some of the ones that really make the best money if they're good at picking the right projects to put that money into.
Love it. And as you said earlier, it depends on the market as well. In a rarely bullish market, you can invest in anything, everything, and still make money. But then it's the reverse in this kind of market now. Yep. And Panda, you were saying the other week, what was it? What was the word you said now? It's like in a game, isn't it? An online game, you have to choose your strategy.
Like the meta. If you're playing, you might know what the meta is.
Yeah. You
have to go with what's good right now. What's the strategy right now? And just
you have to consistently change your strategy and understand what is going on. Be active, be present. Love it. Josh, you've really brought a lot of insights into this today. I think it's really useful to investors if people actually can understand and see how easy it is to make money by just using your own strengths and being passionate. Thank you for coming on today, Josh. It's been a massive pleasure to have you here.
It's been a really good time. I appreciate you guys inviting me on, and it's been a really good time having this conversation with you.
Cheers, Josh.
Bye.
Thanks so much. Yeah, you guys take care.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.